listeners to Podcast Evolved, part of Evolved, your home for Halo. Podcast Evolved hosts original lore series and recaps monthly Halo news. Our current lore series is Infinite Impressions. I am your host, Aaron, and with me today we've got Lucas.
Hello, everybody.
We are back. We have another Infinite Impressions for your lovely ears. This week we are going to do our we're slightly not quite at the mid-season. Are we slightly past it? It's up at the end.
Yeah,
of the
I think
month,
we're about midway because we've done 3 out of the 6 entrenched events. So I would consider that about halfway.
Okay, that's not too bad. We're not far off. This is a season 2 in review, basically so far. Episode. We did the same last season as well. Just get our thoughts out there, what we think of things so far, what we like, what we don't like, that sort of thing. But before we get started, we'll do the socials. If you're new to the show, welcome. Evolved is host to a variety of shows. This is Podcast Evolved. This is our main show. You can check out our previous lore series. We had The Road to Infinite. We did the character dossiers. We're now doing Infinite Impressions. You can also check out all of our other shows. We have Mission Debrief, Builds with Blocks, Halo TV Plus, Halo Gear Guide, Halo Book Club, and Halo Headlines. We also partner with Josh and Will over at HCS Pro Talk. They are dedicated to all things multiplayer and competitive in the world of Halo. So I believe as we speak, they're doing live coverage of one of the HCS weekends. So we did ask them, did they want to be in Season 2, because they are far more proficient in all things multiplayer than I am, but they're already spoken for this evening. So shout outs to Josh and Will, who will probably hear us talk about them after the fact. You can learn more about all of our shows by going to the website, evolvedhalo.com. If you're already a fan, we would like to ask you to please go and leave us a review and a rating on your podcast service of choice. We greatly appreciate the feedback. We'd also like to take a minute to thank all of our patrons for their continued support. Your contributions help make everything we do here possible. Thank you very much, guys. The most recent contribution you got me was a sound shield for my microphone. So hopefully I sound a bit less echoey than the last live news show. I did my best to fix that, but it was a bit tinny in places. But all the same, guys, thank you very much. If you would like to check out the rewards and things for becoming a patron, you can go to patreon.com/podcast evolved. Some of the perks available are unique swag, early access to episodes, access to the soundtrack, and access to the patron-only Discord channel where you can harass me. I'm there occasionally. Finally, we encourage all of our listeners to support Audible, where they can enjoy the growing collection of Halo novels all in one place, along with thousands of other novels, guided wellness programs, and more. Use the URL audibletrial.com/podcast evolved to learn more and start your trial today. By the time you hear this, Rubicon Protocol will be live, so if you go and do that, you can use your first credit to download Rubicon Protocol and listen to it.
Is that your recommendation for the week?
I think that will be my recommendation. You go and read that. That should be my recommendation. I shouldn't recommend another book to you. I am currently listening to Elantris. Yes, Elantris is the Brandon Sanderson book. I really do like the Mistborn series. It's very good, and someone recommended me to download that as well. So I'm currently working my way through it, but it will go on hold to listen to Rubicon Protocol because we've got to do a book club for that. So,
yes, I am. I've got 3 hours left in my current audiobook. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh.
And so I've got about 3 hours left in that. Yeah, it's a great book. It goes along with the other book that the gentleman wrote, is called Everything is Fucked. Great book by Mark Manson. I highly recommend that one. So about 3 hours left. Hopefully I'll be done tomorrow. And then I pick up Rubicon Protocol on Tuesday.
I do believe I would tend to agree with the gentleman. Everything is fucked. That's very much accurate. I can get down with that. Right, so next up, last week in Zeta Halo. Now, all of my last week in Zeta Halo took place within the last hour, so we can talk about that. I haven't been playing any games at all lately. I've had a pretty Xbox free time this last while. I'm just slowly working my way through Law and Order SVU. I'm up to season 4 on that now. Still so terribly aged. It's always funny to see them
Isn't
running
there
about. And
like
you're like, a
20
lot of
seasons?
yeah, there's like 20 of them. It's great, but I'm just watching through and going like, wow, look, people using payphones. Like, so much of this show would be so much quicker if they all had access to mobiles and Wi-Fi. But then again, that's so many sort of like detective shows and thrillers. You're like, mobile phones would have rendered a lot of these plots completely pointless.
Well, that's like I was. What movie was it? It's called Rat Race. I don't know if you've seen that one.
It sounds familiar.
It's a movie where they are in this hotel casino in Vegas and they have to get to this lockbox by like a certain amount of time. All people got selected, and it's like an early 2000s movie. So none of them have smartphones and GPS, so they're all trying to get to this box in various ways. Whether it's a map or some guy hops on a helicopter with some lady, somebody uses a train, and all those things. But it's like if they had GPS, it would have been the easiest race in the entire world, and it would just been who would have been there faster.
Oh, I think I've seen like the original. There's like a 60s or 70s version of that movie as well. I'm
had no
sure
idea.
I've seen a version of that before. There is a it's also like it's a Simpsons there's a Simpsons reference to it as well. There's
Of course there is. Of course there is.
oh, I can't even remember the episode now, but I think it's something to do with Sideshow Bob and they're like trying to find the treasure buried under the T-shaped palm tree or something. But it's the same thing. I've seen a version of that movie because that plot's definitely very familiar. But yeah,
I
so
had
so
no
many
idea.
things can just be solved with a phone. So we played some Halo. We decided to refresh ourselves with the season 2 recap. We got 2 games of land grabbing. We were hoping for a game of King of the Hill, but instead we got 2 games of Capture the Flag because quick play gods were not looking favourably on us this evening. It really would be nice to be able to select the game type preference, even if it wasn't like guaranteed that you would only play that. If it could be like, prioritize this for me if you can. Like, if
Yeah,
you
I would be
specifically
okay with
need
that.
to play one. Yeah, just be like, what's the most important game type to you, and we'll do our best to get you into a match of that.
It was, but I mean, we won. We won some of them, and we were having more issues with, like Steve and I were playing on PC, and we were having more issues with us crashing than, than with the game. Actually playing the game. But you were fine.
Yeah.
Your Xbox was working.
It mostly went okay. I had a little bit of lag here and there and rubber banding, but it wasn't as bad actually as it used to be, so I was happy enough with that. Like, it wasn't terrible. Just would have been nice to have played King of the Hill, which is what we wanted, but ah well. So we had a few games. I enjoyed it. Like, I haven't been in the mood to play any video games, so it's not specifically a Halo problem. It's just nah, I'm just not feeling energetic enough to commit to any game this evening.
I haven't had any time to play video games. I've been a social butterfly this week, and we went to a concert Thursday, Friday, Saturday at night. So I'd like get home I didn't even go home. I go to my brother's house and we'd meet there and drive out there. So like I had zero time to play any video games. My second 3070 came in because my first one was a lemon and it got returned, and my second one came back, and I plugged it in, and my second monitor, which is a VGA cable, and I have the adapter, wasn't recognized by my 3070, so I had to go out and swap with my parents, who have an old computer, but they have some crappy monitor that has a HDMI cable, and that one works. So I've been more dealing troubleshooting my computer than actually playing games on it.
Ah, PC, the simple way to game.
Oh, yes. It is lovely. But when it works, when we were actually playing, I had Halo Infinite on max settings at like 120 FPS, so that's always really, really nice. Have excellent frame rate.
Yeah, just rub it in, why don't you? Look, me and my little Series S are doing just fine over here.
Listen, you can start your Xbox up and just start playing games. Mine's like, well, let's see if it's going to crash on me today. I absolutely love it, but it's also a pain in the ass.
I would like it if they would fix the quick resume problem, because every time I launch into Halo Infinite from quick resume, it doesn't access the servers, and then I have to cancel it and load it again, and it's just very annoying. And they said they were going to fix it, but they haven't. I would like that fixed, please.
343, get on that right away.
Yeah,
Just for Aaron.
please. Or I'd like Microsoft to like add an option where you could tell the Xbox, please don't quick resume this game. Just when I quit it. It's fine. So that would be nice as well, but it happens to me every time, so I don't know what it is, but like it's not the end of the world because you can quit out of Infinite and be back into the main menu screen in less than a minute. It's super fast. It's just annoying because you forget about it and then it loads and you're at the menu screen, but the battle pass info won't load in, the store won't load in, nothing happens, and it just sits.
Can you
like
even play a game?
I think I could launch like campaign and work away, but I can't get anything on the multiplayer side to like load right.
It's weird.
Because it won't access the server.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's irritating. It's probably one of those things I'll find out later could be like solved with an uninstall and a reinstall. I had that with Halo 5. It was very weird a couple of times, and when I deleted the game and just reinstalled it fresh, it all magically fixed itself, but I'm also not in the mood to do that.
Yeah, that's a long
So
time.
it can just sit there for another while. I might actually do it tonight when we're done talking, because chances of me playing Halo during the week while I'm busy pretty slim. I have a friend coming to visit me later in the week, and we'll end up playing Master Chief Collection because there's no local co-op in Infinite, so that'll be all right. Yeah, I might load it up and let him run around the open world for a while because I don't think he has Infinite, so we can have a look at it, but we can't do anything together, so we'll just have to leave it. Right, any other last week in Say the Halo stuff before we jump into impressions?
No, I think that covers about all my stuff.
Okay, well then we will dive in. So we had our previous on. So let's see. Our last one was Infinite on PC. So this was a Krista and David episode. They were mostly discussing Krista's experiences with Infinite on her PC. Krista has not played Infinite on the Xbox, pretty much because she spent a lot of money on her computer and feels the need to use it and justify it at all times. So
Struggle of PC gaming.
Yep, I've spent all this money on it. I must use it for everything.
So I have actually played it. Obviously, I'm playing it on PC, but I have also played it on my Xbox One. And I will say that when I did play it on my Xbox One, it was kind of a nightmare. Things were struggling to load in, and it would do this thing where it would like spam. Like if I threw a grenade, it would blow up, but it would blow up like 40 times before like the animation would be done. So I had some trouble with that. So I've been pretty much exclusively playing it on PC as well, because I'm trying to justify my expensive 3070 that I just put into my computer.
Yeah, you've always got to justify it. So go and listen to that if you want to hear Krista's thoughts on PC Infinite. And then you can listen to us talk about Season 2 so far. So, let's dive in. Season 2 is called Lone Wolves. You may or may not have guessed that already. It started on May 3rd of this year, and it's due to finish on November 7th. It was another long season. So, originally Season 1 was due to be long, and then every season after that was to go back to a 3-month cycle. That was in fact not the case, and Season 2 also got pushed out to 6 months. No.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, no, it is 6 months. Hang on. And Season 2 also got pushed out to 6 months. So now we have 2 long seasons. Season 3, as far as I'm aware, is supposed to go to 3 months. They haven't said otherwise, have they?
No, not that I've heard of.
No.
And at that point, hopefully Forge and Co-op will be out, and so they won't have to like hold back to create these things for the game.
Yeah, fingers crossed they'll have a bit more manpower to throw at this, because we should be getting 4 seasons a year instead of the 2 that we've had so far, which would be nice. More seasons, more events packed closer together, things like that would be good. This season came with another battle pass, so it's the typical, if you've played Season 1, you know it's a 100-tier battle pass. It requires 100,000 XP to unlock everything, or 20,000 credits to buy the level ups, which is a lot. Um, it costs 1,000 credits for the premium battle pass, and for the bundle, it's 2,800. And with that, you get the battle pass and you get enough XP grants to unlock the first 25 levels, which to me personally, I think that's a little bit pricey.
Yeah, that is a little bit pricey. And it's really easy to go up 25 levels. If you just like put a double XP boost and play through a weekly battle pass or like a weekly challenges, you can get it done in like a week
Yeah,
or in a week and a half.
I think you're better buying the regular pass and then just using your XP boosts wisely as you get them, as you unlock the season. Because when you start playing for the day, the first time you play is when you can get your most stuff. So if you put the double XP boost on, your first 5 or 6 games are your most lucrative because you're getting the 300 reward for your first game, which is doubled, and then the 200 reward and the 100 reward, and your various challenges as well. So that's usually like, if I play a game or two and drop a double XP, I manage to go up 3 or 4 levels in the battle pass. So it's not the worst, it's the only thing that frustrates me about this, putting the event challenges in the middle of the battle pass challenges.
See,
I
it's
really
not.
do.
I was gonna say it's not so bad with like, the land grab challenges because they're all, you can play with your friends and like that's not terrible. But like when you have to do the last Spartan standing ones and it's like, all right guys, let's come back in an hour or so when we've all cleared our last Spartan standing challenges and we'll go and we'll play together. They just need to implement some sort of like maybe a doubles or a trios and just add more people into a last Spartan standing. I think that would be super fun.
I do wish, I know it's open to abuse in that you could invite party members into your game and use each other to farm the challenges, but I would still rather have the option to like bring my fire team into last Spartan standing and just attack each other. That's sort of like something as well that also annoys me, but I would definitely like a separate event challenge list on its own, just that I can focus on that. Um, because otherwise it's a bit of a nuisance. Like I know 343 want events to last you a certain length of time and to get people to play them and all, but it's a small problem I've had with both seasons now. Is if I go and I decide to play, I might get through 2 or 3 event challenges unlocked, but then it might fill up with regular challenges, which some of them can be quite big. And you're going, but I want to play the event, but you want me to go and play a big team or something, and that's a bit of an irritation.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And some of they've actually, I guess we can talk about the challenges right now, is they have done a lot better this season with making challenges a lot more easily obtainable, especially the end weekly one. I mean, it would be some crazy things like you have to kill a guy with the needler and get a killjoy, and like that is so rare and so impossible to do, but they've really toned down it a bunch, or they've made them more generic. So I definitely think they're in the right direction with those.
Yeah, like I have absolutely no issue with like easy to medium challenges. If you want to put more of them in or whatever for the week, so be it. I also think they have an opportunity here. If you could have a separate challenge feed, I don't think there's any reason that they couldn't have a high end challenge feed and have like a better weekly reward tier from it. Something
That
else you could focus on instead.
that actually sounds like, so you have like a standard one, and then you have like a challenging
I
one that.
think, yeah, I think like if you had your season pass challenge track and beside it, call it the legendary challenge track and go, right, there's only 8 challenges or 7 challenges in this for the week, but they are hard. Like you just go, these are proper hard multiplayer challenges and get stuck in at it. Like I think there's a few things they could do to really shake things up and keep everyone happy.
That actually sounds. What kind of rewards? And my guess would be like maybe more of like a credit. Like, hey, you can get credits for these rewards, like 500 credits for doing the weekly one, and you can, you know, maybe 500, maybe too much, maybe like 250 or like 300, and then you do a few of them, and hey, I can unlock an armor that I saw on the in the
Maybe do
store.
that, yeah. Or just like give you an unlock for the store. Be like, right, we give you one token for unlock and just go, it's for anything in the store. Just if you want to buy a suit of armor with it, fine. If you want to spend it on a skin for an assault rifle, so be it. Just go, the next item you buy in the store on the house. Like
I would
that,
agree.
something like that could work pretty well. Or they just, if they have the time and the effort, they could put a specific piece of armor in there or something. But the problem is, people will be upset then that it's locked away behind a higher skill wall or whatever. But like, I think it's something they could do just to shake things up a little bit, because it is frustrating if you decide you're going to jump on with a couple of friends, or there's an event and you're going like, oh, I could maybe do this, but I also don't want to play the other stuff as well. So I don't want to
Mhm.
be jumping back and forth between the event playlist and the regular stuff all the time. I think there's things they could do with that,
No, that
which
would
would
be
be
really
cool.
cool. Actually, I was thinking about it, not even like giving you a token for the store, but like giving you a token for kind of how MCC does it, where it's like, well, you can go in and pick something that's already been released, not something that hasn't, something that maybe was in season one, a season one weekly or something like that, and let you go back and like, hey, you can unlock this specific armor or this like specific
So
coating.
like a redemption for the Disney Vault, basically, and go like, right, you get to go and look what's in the store that we took off it, and you can go and grab one of them. That would
Yeah,
be a good idea. I
yeah.
like that. Like
So
all of the previous rewards and everything should be in it. So anything you missed on a week to week, I think that could be a good way to do it. I know eventually you might run out of stuff, but if it's only one a week, if you've already the only problem there is if you're someone that's done everything every week, um, that might be a little harder. Although I suppose you could throw the old events in there as well. Like you could go back to the first fracture as well.
I mean, you can go
Maybe
back
do
to even the
that.
Christmas event. Like they had that Christmas event that had all the Christmas
Oh
camos and
yeah. I think there's potential there with that, but it would just be nice to have that stuff broken up a bit, that if you have a limited amount of time, you can focus on the thing you want to focus on.
Mhm. One thing I
So
will also want to say, because we're talking about credits and stuff like that, the season 2 battle pass. So I'll start with the season 1 battle pass. Didn't give you any credits, but the season 2 battle pass gives you 1,000 credits for completing it. So when season 3 comes around and all subsequent seasons, you don't have to pay for them anymore unless you use the credits to buy something in the store. But I'm saving mine so that I can use it for the season 3, so I never have to pay for a season ever again.
yeah, I have a slab of credits on mine anyway. I don't actually remember what I put credits on it for. I might have just had some spare money and been like, right, I'll throw some credits on and maybe I'll pick up a skin or that in the store that I like the look of. But I like that they're going to at least give you enough credits to buy the next season, because that's what I told my niece. Is like, look, I've bought you season 2. You have the credits now. You'll get them for season 3. Don't spend them in the store. This will be a test of your willpower. If you can resist buying a skin with them or a helmet, you can have the next season for free. I will find out in November whether or not we were able to resist the temptation to spend those credits. But I am so far 50-50 on whether or not I will have to buy season 3 for her.
We'll see. Do you want to place bets?
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah, she's going to be listening to this, so she'll hear me now. I'm sure I'll get some abuse about this once the episode's out, but we'll see. Right, let's see, what else do I have in here. So, yes, we had 2 new armor cores for this season. You get 2 every season. So, we have the Rakasha core, which is the one that comes with the Lone Wolves event. And we have the Eagle Strike core, and that is the Fracture event. Now, because I have played very little of this, I think the Eagle Strike is the more attractive of the 2 armors, but I've unlocked very little of either. Like the Lone Wolf core is all right, the Rakasha stuff, but I think the Eagle Strike with all the unlocks looks quite sexy.
Yeah, yeah. I just think there needs to be more unlocks. Like the first 10 levels are like, you really don't get much, and like for the second one you didn't really get much either. um you like on the second one, you got the second set of 10 levels, you got that space Nazi looking helmet for the Eagle Strike. But for the Rakasha, you don't get really much in the beginning, but once you start getting up to the higher levels, especially like I think it's level 99 and 100 when you get the elite like skull shoulder armor, and I think that looks fantastic. So I kind of do like the end game Rakasha armor sets more than the entire Eagle Strike core.
Yeah, I suppose I can kind of see that. The elite skulls are quite nice. Um, I
I
do
would say
think
the
maybe do we think a few more better looking items on the lower levels, or just a few more nicer items in general?
I don't really know. They keep adding like some of the events, some of the other free events add stuff to the Rakasha armor set. So like they keep adding helmets and stuff like that. So I don't think it's an issue. I mean, it gives you more of an incentive to go through the battle pass because now you get the better, cooler armor sets.
Yeah, true. I
The
don't know.
one
I
thing
don't.
I want to say about the fractured is like I feel like if they give a fractured core each season, that might be a little too like especially like if they do 4 a year, they can't have four fractured cores every single year. You'd have so many fractured cores. So maybe like they'll do Eagle Strike and then like last season was Tenrai. Maybe they'll do like a third one and then they'll just kind of rotate them as the seasons go along. Like we'll do Tenrai, Eagle Strike, and then whatever this third one is, so that they keep building on like the Samurai and the Space Nazi and whatever other one that they decide to put in.
I personally, I know this is bordering on cross core stuff, and they're working on that. We have some of it coming, but I would have liked it if the fractured armor was all for the one core. Like, I know it's a bit of a clash of styles with the sort of samurai armor versus the World War II Nazi look, but I think the fracture core should have been one core, kind of like the Mark 7. You have the Mark 7, here's the fracture core, and all of the stuff you unlock in the fracture events goes to that core. So eventually, if we get to the stage where they do crossovers and you have like the Star Wars Spartan inspired fracture core, you can combine that with the Space Samurai. I think that would have been my preferred way to do it, instead of having another fracture core mannequin clogging up my armor hall every time.
Yeah, yeah, I would see that. I can see that though. Like when you equip the fractured core, at least the Eagle Strike core, like the standard armor that it comes with looks different than the Tenrai one. So like you would essentially have to. I don't really know. Like you would have to change like your armor completely almost, because like a lot of the stuff that adds the to the Eagle Strike or the Tenrai, like it adds to the already established like chest piece that's there. So like it's not just like
Yeah,
a totally different chest piece like you would see in any other Halo game. It's like no, this is the bulky looking like suit thing, and then you just like there are different like attachments to it
yeah,
that
they
go with it.
are. They are more of like ornate attachments or enhancements than they are outright, I think, different components, which is maybe where there would be an issue. But I think I would have preferred that than, like you said, if we get a fracture every season and we get a new armor every season, things are going to get a bit busy in the armor hall.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe like one a year. Like maybe they're just putting a few out now, but then they like every year it's like okay, we're gonna add one, but then we're gonna just get so like after like 10 years you have 12, 13, armor cores for Tenrai, but that's after 10 years. Like at that point, yeah, it's you should
Uh,
have that much content.
I don't know. I can see them just continuing to have one every season, but it'll depend on what they do for it. I hope they get a bit crazier out there. I am a sucker for a little cross brand or stuff. I would like to see a few just like real corny out there things.
Listen, Doom and Gears of War would be absolutely, or if they did like something wild and did like a Gundam freaking armor core, like mind
Well, I feel
blown.
like the Eagle Strike Corps was just screaming out for a Wolfenstein inspired sets of armor in there as well. Like
Absolutely.
that
And
just
because now Bethesda is owned by Microsoft, like totally an easy way to add that in.
Yeah, and like a bit of power armor inspired, Fallout stuff as well. Like
You're
things like this, I think, are an easy ask. Um, since we've had the samurai inspired armor, I very much think an Elder Scrolls inspired armor set also just like waiting to happen.
I feel like you could just put the Skyrim stuff in with um the Tenrai stuff, and even you could the Fallout, like the Fallout power armor. I feel like they could modify to fit with the Eagle Strike very, very
Yeah,
well.
like I could see that if they did that as an event, like you said, where they do little events where they add extras to the armor cores already. If you just had a week long event about like, oh, this is going to add 10 attachments or 15 attachments for this suit of armor, and they're all inspired by franchise X or Y, like I think that's a pretty easy, safe bet.
I know Call of Duty's been big in doing that lately. Like they had I think Alien or Predator one. They were doing like King Kong versus Godzilla. I've seen, so they've been really trying. I've seen like Rambo, and I think even The Rock. Maybe it's The Rock. I don't know. There's been a few like big hulky meatheads that have ended up in the Call of Duty Warzone.
Like Predator inspired armor is just asking to happen. Like you can have your Predator inspired armor with your alien skulls for shoulder pads and stuff, and like that just screams. And that's an interesting universe. I want to read the Fracture lore on a universe where Spartans hunt predators.
Spartans would beat the living crap out of those predators. Like they are no match.
Spartans and elites out there hunting down predators and brutes and awesome cool stuff to go with that. Like there's just I would like to see more of that. Take a few silly risks. If we're just gonna have an armor core every season that is not canon, go balls to the wall crazy. Right. Let's see. What else did we get this season? So we got 2 new maps. We got Catalyst and we got Breaker. So I think out of the 2 of these, I prefer Catalyst. I like it.
I would agree. Catalyst has that old school Halo Forerunner E5 where it's very symmetrical. It just has a good Forerunner look to it. It feels like maybe a mix between like Narrows because it's got the bridge and maybe a little bit of Epitaph and a few other old school Halo maps.
Yeah, I do quite enjoy it now. I have to say, when we played Land Grab on it, it was fun. It's a good little tight map. It's fun to run around. Breaker, while being fine for big team battle, it's just very... I sort of spread out in a way I don't enjoy. Like, I know it is a big team map, but I didn't have as much fun on Breaker as I did on Catalyst. But that's just me personally. I could see Catalyst being one of those maps down the line that people think fondly of, and Breaker will be one of those maps that no one remembers.
Yeah, I could see that. We played a lot of BTB, was it 2 weeks ago? And a lot of them ended up on Breaker, and it is cool because like there is a distinct like side of the map, like what side your team is on compared to the other side. So it is very distinctly like, hey, we have to get to the other side. And it's cool, like jumping over the center and the warthogs and stuff. There's a video I posted in the, might have been in the Facebook group, might have been on my personal Facebook page, but we had like 7 people playing. And so we were jumping over the edge with the flag and it was a lot of fun. And unfortunately, nobody got killed by the beam in the middle because we were all very aware of what happens when you get close to it.
Yeah, I do like a map with a little like native damage and things happening. That's always nice.
I love maps like that. I mean, even like the map with I'm even playing Zanzibar with the windmill in the middle and stuff like that. Those are always a lot of fun. Or some standoff, like I think we mentioned this, like standoff in Halo 3 that's got the doors for like the bunkers open and close, or like I think it's called Rat Race in Halo 3 where like the barriers can come up. Like all those little things just make the game so much better, make maps so much better.
Yeah, a little environmental action's always fun in a game. So I would love to see a little more of that in games going forward. Like, I would be all right if every map had its own gimmick. You know,
Absolutely.
whatever it is. Like, if every so often in Catalyst you got a swarm of sentinels down just to like distract things, stuff like that could be interesting.
But yeah, they're pretty
Uh,
good. Pretty good maps. I have no complaints. I think they're better. Both of them are, up there. At least Catalyst, I think, is one of the best maps in the game itself. And Breaker kind of sits in the middle for me.
yeah, I could live with that. I think that's fairly decent ranking. We got a couple of new modes as well. So we got the Return of King of the Hill. We got Land Grab, which is the event that we've played at the minute, and we got Last Spartan Standing. So, out of the three of these, I think I prefer Land Grab. I'm not as big a fan of Last Spartan Standing.
Last Spartan Standing is all right. They've been tweaking it a little bit. So the first drop, or when they first had Last Spartan Standing with the Entrenched event, they had a certain weapon list, and it was like Sidekick and Disruptor started, and then it went through a bunch of things. And then the most recent Last Spartan Standing Entrenched event, they like totally switched all the weapons, and like the Sidekick doesn't come in till like the third level or second level, and at the end you get the energy sword. So like they've definitely changed it completely, because nobody would use the Disruptor or the Mangler anymore. You would just use the Sidekick until you got the assault rifle, because it was so much better than the other two guns. So it's an alright game mode. They did fix it, where they did add it to new maps. They made it so the little drop pods that come in aren't exclusively shield and cloaking. They have some other equipment. So they do add more things. And then they changed up the danger zone slightly, but it's not the best game mode. Again, like we said earlier, if it was like if you play doubles or trios or something like that, that'd be a so much more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's. I don't tend to play a lot of lone wolf game modes, so it's not something I particularly enjoy. If I'm gonna play it, I'd rather play it with a friend or a couple of friends on the team, so I tend to stay away from those.
Of course.
Whereas Land Grab is one I do quite enjoy. So
No, yeah, land grab is it kind of has it's kind of not a king. It's more of like a territories or like a domination game mode, but when you capture it you don't have to worry about it anymore, and it goes up by points. So I think that's actually a quite fun game mode to play.
yeah, I've enjoyed it quite a lot. Like I said, you run around your 3 points spawn, you go and try and take them all. When you take them, like you said, they disappear, and then you're waiting for the next wave of points to spawn in, and then you do it all again, and it just means things are always moving, they're always ticking over. You're always trying to figure out where the enemy, where are they going, where are we going, you know.
Yeah,
There's
and
usually
game
always
mode.
at the start, there's always like a safe point at the start, and then as the game goes on, you get to the point where you're like, none of these points are on our side of the map, we need to gun it now.
Nope. Yeah, and I mean, game modes can switch. Like you could get the first three right out of the gate and be like, yeah, we're really up. And then the other team can like get their ass in gear and start like winning a few of them. And all of a sudden you're like, well, crap, we're down by 2 now. So like it can fluctuate. It's really hard to get like a runaway victory. And I've seen it a few times, but it either gets relatively close. One team comes back and wins, or, it really depends on, the team you're playing with.
Yeah, I know I've definitely had a lot of fun in Land Grab that I haven't had otherwise. Now, I've only played a little bit of King of the Hill, so you're going to have to lead on this. I'm pretty sure I've played a few games, but it's a very few, because this is the problem we had even tonight when we went to play, is you just hit quick play and you go hope for the best.
Yeah. So old school King of the Hill was, you get the 1 point, and as long as your team stood inside it, your ticker, your little marker would go up, your time thing. So similar to how holding the oddball, your time goes up. It was a very similar concept. In Halo Infinite, they changed it where you still have 1 point, and you have to fight over that 1 point. But when you capture the point, you have a smaller bar that fills up. And so once that smaller bar completely fills up, you get a single point, and then the hill changes. So it keeps you from getting a runaway where, hey, this team is so well entrenched in this point, they can just sit there and camp the whole time. Now they have to not only get the point, they have to go to the next place and try to do that. So I think it's designed to eliminate, like I said, just getting steamrolled by one team in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, like I see why they did it, although part of me does miss just sitting in the point and trying to hold it and watching the ticker go up, because when you're getting close to like filling your ticker and the other team are slamming you, there is something very exciting about that, and going like, just one of you please survive in the circle long enough while we try and take out the rest of them. You know, it is a lot of fun, but I also see where it is absolutely no fun whatsoever if you are on the team getting absolutely wrecked and you're just watching the ticker go up and you're miles away from the hill and you're just like, nah, this is terrible.
I'm not gonna try. Yeah, like I get what you're saying, and you can still get that feeling because you can see the little smaller bar like slowly move up, and you're like, oh my gosh, like nobody come in our circle or anything like that, like, or there's one guy left, like we have to take him out, and you're in a rush. So like certain thing, you still get it, and I enjoy it when we do get a chance to play it. But like I think we discussed earlier, is they need like a preferred, like, hey, I if you don't put me in it, that's fine, but I prefer you put me in a game mode that I am looking for. And so you can still do quick play, but it's preferred quick play.
I do think they need something like that. You need to be able to say, I am looking for a specific game type, because with challenges as well, it's the same thing. If you're going into something like quick play, you should be like, I have challenges for King of the Hill, so I also have challenges for quick play, so this is what I'm playing. You'd be like, I'd really like a King of the Hill match as well, and I can knock out 2 challenges at once. And you might get lucky, you might not, but it would be nice if you could just like signal that preference. Like the way you used to be able to prioritize in, was it Halo 3? You could prioritize matchmaking by like, was it speed or connection quality, or there were a couple of settings you used to be able to pick on the menu, and you could be like, if we're getting games, I'm prioritizing for this. So it would be nice if you could get that and just prioritize by a game type. I think that's a little trick. Like, it's not saying this is the only game type I'm going to play. It's not like they have that version in Master Chief Collection where you can just tick the playlist you want out of the specific games. Like, this is all I'm matchmaking for, just these, nothing else. But, just a preference thing to go, right, well, stick me in whatever, but if that game's going, I'll take it.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I feel like if they did the, thing like MCC, you wouldn't, or like if it was in MCC and the challenges were all King of the Hill based, like everybody would just be playing King of the Hill. So they are trying to get people to play more variety of games. But if, like you said, if they had like a preference, like quick play preference, like I would be 100% okay with that.
Also, I've just had an idea on how to bring the old school King of the Hill back to make it more interesting. We go to the old system where the timer ticks up while you're in the hill, but the hill constantly slowly moves.
Like it doesn't like move positions, like it literally just like moves, like
it just crawls across the ground, because they kind of have that animation in effect for they have that mechanism for last Spartan standing as the zone narrows in. So just have the hill just be like, yeah, the hill's going off into open ground and you're just fucked, you're going to have to do your best. Or the hill is currently moving through corridors and built up area, and you can hide in this corridor, but oops, the hill has just moved through the wall to the next area and you're left behind, just at like a walking pace. I think that might maybe like change things up a bit.
That would be actually super cool. Like, that actually sounds like an awesome game mode, like a moving hill like that. Maybe that's like when a Forge comes in, maybe they could do something in Forge.
Like, I know you could do things where you could, attach the King of the Hill to the hill to something, but I think just having like a constant moving hill, that's the best way to do that old system, because then no one ever has the permanent luxury of digging into an area, because you're never in an area long enough to really like do anything. And there's always the chance that you're going to be out in the open. So there's an idea for 343. Take that and work away with it, please. Right. So far we've had 2 narrative events. The first one was Interference. That was May 3rd to May 16th. That is the one you get with the initial intro video. You get the headhunter team coming into the academy. They take the Spartan in
No,
and
actually, wait,
analyze
I'm
them.
going to time you. I'm going to pause you there real quick because that is
Oh,
actually the what's it called? That is just the intro to the battle pass.
oh. So what is the Interference?
Interference is when you see the Spartan Agrina. She's like, "Oh well, you got to play the last Spartan standing mode and get the banished AI out of the guy's suit of armor." And
Oh, there's a second video, isn't
yeah,
there?
yeah. And then after you beat it,
Oh,
she's like, "Oh, good job. We got, the guy out of the armor, so now you can use it as it's kind of how it's kind of how they get the AI so you can get the banished AI as like a like the little AI companion you get."
yeah. They trap him in the servers, and then it's like, yeah, you've got to keep going back and playing to like get more info out of him.
Hmm.
Right. Okay, I'm with you again. Right. So that specifically is the thing. Okay. Right. So we've had two narrative events so far. We've had the intro cutscene video, which sets up the whole season for Lone Wolves, which is the Lone Wolf team coming back. They're on the beat up the Phantom. We find out that one of the Spartans has captured this AI in his armor. He's now stuck. They analyze him, and then we get the cutscene for Interference, which is the first event. That was May 3rd to 16th. And this is where they set up the premise for what you're doing in Last Spartan Standing. It
Yeah.
is. Wait, is it Last Spartan Standing or is it?
Yeah, it's last Spartan standing.
It is.
Usually, oh no, yeah, it is last Spartan standing because I think the entrenched events are the land grab.
That's right. So in this, the like in universe gist of this is you are trying to lure Eratus out of the Spartan armor into the servers in the academy so they can trap him and analyze him. And you do your event, you play away. When you complete is it the first 10 levels or something, or first
Yeah,
15
it's only
challenges?
10 levels.
Yeah, you get the cutscene at the end of that, which is basically congratulations, job well done. We've trapped him in the servers. Get back in there to kick the crap out of him and get more information out of him. So that's the first one. And then the second event is Alpha Pack, and that's June 19th to August 2nd. So at the time of recording, this event just wrapped up a few days ago. And this one started off with the is it Eklund? She's the female
Yes, I'm
Spartan.
pretty sure it is Eklund, and now I'm going to go double check. There's Din and Eklund.
Eklund. Din is the one who had Iritus in his armor.
Yes.
That's okay. Right. So we have Eklund. She is on the firing range and she's talking to you about what it takes to be a lone wolf and all of that. I think did someone point out that there is a animation glitch in this cutscene where
It's not an animation glitch, but it seems like the gun might have been not the assault rifle when they originally designed the cutscene. So if you're a firearms enthusiast like I am, the bolt on the back of the gun doesn't move, and then the rounds come out like midway through the gun as if like it was the DMR. So that's kind of the idea people thought of, is, hey, this might have been the DMR that they were going to put in, and then they took it out and just swapped in the assault rifle. So they still have all the animations, and the gun is firing semi-automatic in like a slow way, where the assault rifle, as we all know, is like a hose of bullets. So it just seems like it wasn't designed for the assault rifle originally.
I find it weird that they didn't sub in the DMR with it and just go like, oh, this is the the BR, and be like, oh no, in universe the BR still fires single fire and burst there, and do that.
Yeah, they might have been able to do that. I don't know. They probably just thought it's easier to use the assault rifle for whatever reason.
I suppose it's not the end of the world. It would have
No.
been interesting if this event had have brought us the DMR though. I think that would have been a little bit more exciting to people as well.
Yeah, we would have
But
gotten like
then
the stalker rifle like equivalent, the human stalker rifle equivalent, and then you could do like the SWAT game mode or the tactical Slayer with the DMR as well.
yeah, like I could see that maybe being like a season 3 thing then, but that would have been cool. So you get that as well, and then you complete the event and you go back to another cutscene which is more of Spartan Eklund talking and basically going, you might have what it takes, son. Like that's sort of the gist of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a very lackluster like two cutscenes. Like even the one with the Greena for the interference event was these are kind of lackluster. They're just kind of like it's almost like a generic like 30-second briefing of what's going on. It's not really much lore that
They
gets
are
added to anything.
they are absolutely not Spartan Ops grade cutscenes, that is for sure.
No. No.
No one has smashed the infinity in anything. There has been no fighting. There have been no big battles. Like, a little bit more would be interesting.
I don't know. Maybe what if
Um,
like the end of the season, like the banished come for this banished AI and they like attack the academy, and so like season 3, like the academy is all like damaged and it doesn't look as nice and clean as it currently is.
Stuff like that could be interesting. That would maybe make sense with some of the leaks we've seen for Forge mode, where, not to get out of the topic here, but destructible walls and stuff may be a thing that's leaked, but we're not discussing that here, so we're not going to get too into it. But if you were going to have a battle damaged facility, walls that you could shoot out would be highly useful. Just saying. It would be cool, but they're not really anything exciting. The cutscenes, like you can pretty much, if you didn't see them and you just saw them in a video later, you didn't miss anything. That's maybe a bit of a disappointment with these. Although it seems like they're in-engine scenes, so there's probably only so much they can do without like having to spend money and time on an animation budget.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, it would be cool if we found out later it's the sort of thing that you could make with Forge and Theater mode. That might be interesting.
Oh, that
Like
would
if
be
they
nice.
if they did turn around and say to you, "Oh no, this is all done like in game, and you could do this yourself," like that would be cool. If you could make your own game types and have like a little intro animation scene.
Oh, so it'd be like explaining the game mode to people so they wouldn't have to like, oh hey, how the hell do I play this? Like,
Yeah, if you had something dumb or whatever, like you could just do it. Like that sort of stuff would be cool because you have, like you have the age old. Why am I blanking on the name? What is red versus blue? What is the name for all that stuff?
Rooster Teeth?
No, like
Or the
that particular style of making videos in the
oh,
game.
the machinima?
Oh, machinima. That I couldn't think of the word at all there. Like if they were just like, yeah, you can make some machinima shit here, like just do it without, and direct the whole thing. Stuff like that could be cool. Like if they said that, I go, okay, fair enough, right? That's why this cutscene is the way it is. It's a Spartan model shooting and turning to the camera and animating, and then you've added in some voice lines. But they are a bit lackluster. Right, the other one we have here is the Fracture event, which is entrenched. Now, I would have liked some animations for these. I would like to see some entrenched Spartans fighting on battlefields.
That would be really cool because then they could have like a slight entrenched like animation, even if it's not like the whole the storyline that goes with it. Like it could be like a cool cutscene that they put together for it. That would be super neat.
Yeah, like we're getting the lore with the entrenched events now. So every week that you have, or every time you have a week long entrenched event, we're getting the lore drop on Waypoint, and we are going to cover all of those in an Infinite Impressions because so far, like it's a reasonable amount of information. Like there's enough in there to go over as if it was a short story in Fractures or something.
Yeah,
So
at the end of it, it's probably going to be, it could probably be like a 30 page, maybe not 30 pages, maybe like like 20-page short story.
Yeah, like it's worthy of that. So it would have been nice to have some sort of entrenched cutscene or intro video or something. Just even if it was entirely CGI, it would have been nice. 30-second video, you know, whatever it is. Spartans fighting in the trenches, chucking a grenade over the edge, climbing up onto the sandbags to like take on the mutated Covenant enemy. Would have been cool.
Yeah, yeah. Like the actual trailers for it that Halo puts out are just like showing them like fighting in multiplayer. They're not actually showing them in like their core, their lore arena or lore areas.
No. And as we said, the event itself, we've had 3 weeks so far. So we've had May 24th to 30th, June 14th to 20th, and July 5th to 11th. The next week will be August 16th to 22nd. These are all taking place around Land Grab. So if you enjoy Land Grab as a game type, you can go and play that. The armor itself, I dig that sort of like funky World War II inspired look that's going on with it. I don't have anything negative to say about it overly.
Yeah, just the first 10 like challenges, the first 10 unlocks don't really give you much, but like the second 10 you get the cool helmet, and there's a few others after that, so they're not terrible. It's just, and then with like I think some of the what's it called, some of the other little narrative events or like the special events throughout the season, they add to it. So there's probably going to be something with either Halloween or now Thanksgiving will be after this ends for at least the Americans, but like they might do some sort of like Halloween event that might give you an entrenched like armor coating.
Yeah, like I think if this was in a condensed 3-month season, I think it wouldn't feel quite as everything wouldn't feel quite as lackluster because it feels a little bit padded out. That just there isn't the content to string out 6 months. But if this was all a nice tight 3-month season and every other week you had something going on, I think that would be all right.
I mean, if you're doing 3 months at this point, it would be, and there are 6 entrenched weeks total because there's 6 months, but they probably would have like 4 or 5 still. So it'd be like almost every other week would be, you'd have 2 a month, 2 entrenched events a month, and then every other month or every other week would be either a standard weekly challenge, or we had the interference in the alpha pack. So now we have 4 weeks of just generic, and then you have 8 weeks of like special events. So there's always something going on.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot tighter and better than what we have going on at the minute. So something maybe for them to work on and focus on down the line. The only other thing we got this season was the campaign co-op beta. So we did a little bit of this. We mucked around in it for a while. As far as I'm aware, they're still aiming to drop it this month, so before the end of the season, because Season 3 is going to be all about Forge and the beta for it. With campaign co-op, we're also getting mission replay. I have nothing negative to say about that. Mission replay, good.
No, I think they did a pretty good job.
We had a pretty good time with it. Like, it worked pretty well. It was pretty smooth. Playing campaign with 4 players, fun. We did some dumb stuff with the grapple shots. We enjoyed that. I think there's a lot more potential for dumb abuse when you have more time with it.
When it fully comes out, we will have to spend the time and just try to break it as much as possible, because that is how you play a Halo game with friends. You try to break. Like what were we playing? A few months ago, we were trying out the crossplay, but for Halo 3, when you could play PC and Xbox, and so we were just mucking about on. I think it's the Covenant. It might be the Covenant, or it might have just been the Ark. It was the Ark, and we were trying to get up after you defeat those 2 scarabs, trying to drive up the ramp in the Scorpion tank. You just sit there for 30 minutes and fuck around with your friends.
Yeah, like that's always, I think when it gets to that stage, you're not playing the campaign to concentrate on the campaign. You're playing the campaign to muck about. So, like, I look forward to that being out. I reckon we will get a mission debrief episode out of it as well. So, I will talk to the guys about jumping on with them and playing some campaign. And then it's cross play, so you can be in your PC and I'm on my Xbox, and David can be in his Xbox and whatever, and it all just will work. So, that's always good. Like, when it comes out, I will be quite happy to get stuck into it and have a go. And it'll be nice to have the replay option then, so you're not like worried about how to get back through things. Also, it will be nice to tackle the opening mission with full unlocks. I think that'll be fun.
Yes, or if you want your friends to try like a lasso run.
No, just no.
No?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't hate myself that much, no. Anything else? Any last thoughts in season 2 so far? Well, what is your overall opinion of the season? Like, if you had to pull a number out, what do you think?
Seven's probably seven's probably a good one. It's got some ups, it's got some downs, but overall, I've enjoyed it. I probably spent too much time playing the game, and I probably sped through the battle pass too quickly than I would have liked. So now I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs, waiting for each event. So that's more on me than the actual game itself. But overall, they've made good changes. They've tried adding things, and so hopefully when we get co-op, I can bump the number up a little to say, hey, yeah, they got co-op in there, and maybe it's an 8 now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, a lot of this has to do with me just not being in the mood for video games at the minute. So, like, I'm probably sitting at like a 6, but that's maybe less a Halo thing and more just I'm not really in that mindset at the minute. But also, like, a lone wolf mode was never going to be a thing to appeal to me anyway. I need the big team battle centered season to really get me excited. So hopefully we get something like that in season 3.
What if season 3 has, and I know we're going to get into an episode about this, what if it is a big team battle and they have like an invasion game mode like from Reach? Like,
I'm hoping, you see, because it's going to be the season with Forge mode, I'm hoping it's going to be big maps and dumb shit. Like, if they could drop... you see, the thing is, I don't think Forge mode will come out with the launch of season 3, but if it did... And if all the events in season 3 were Forge inspired, imagine the just absolute utter mayhem that could be in that.
You're giving me hope, and you're giving me so many ideas. And I'm sure Tom is probably sitting here like writing down everything, his theorycraft ideas.
Yeah, like, I don't want to get people too excited, but like, they did hope to get co-op out early with this season, and then they said no, it's not coming. But we know that Forge mode is really far along because we see the leaks, and I'm just like, if it dropped at the start of the season and they went like, yeah, this season's Forge, there's your big Forge map, that's what you're getting. The first events are Forge creations, and the next event's going to be inspired by your Forge creations. Like, something like that could be just the dumbest fun.
Get me too excited.
That would be,
get me too excited.
Yeah, that would be my hope, but we're not there yet. We will have hopefully information coming in the next month, because at some point we will do like a wrap up for season 2, and I look forward to season 3. So at that stage, hopefully we will have the information, because like we said, this finishes on November 7th, so we'll get the next season started in the run up to Christmas. So when we get that, we will talk about it. Fingers crossed. We can only hope for the best. That's all we can do. Right, well, guys, I think that's about it. Our next episode of Infinite Impressions, I've just called it Infinite Weapons, but we are going to be looking at the weapons of Halo Infinite and comparing them to their predecessors from previous games, seeing what we like, what we don't like, the niches they fill in the game compared to their counterparts from the older games, and just a general talk about guns and Halo.
Looking forward to it.
Yep, should be good fun. So that'll be our next Infinite Impressions. As always, guys, look, thank you for joining us. You can get every episode of all of our shows on the website, evolvedhalo.com. If you want to listen to everything all under one feed, just look for Halo Podcast Evolved in your podcast service of choice. Special shout out once again to all of our patrons for your continued support. Head over to patreon.com/Halo Evolve to learn more. And finally, if you would like to leave us a voicemail on your thoughts in Season 2, anything else, talk about the news, whatever you want, as long as it's Halo related, we'll play it on an episode. You can call the voicemail on 205 Evolve, that's 205-386-5833. And with that, I have been your host, Aaron, and until next time, Evolved.
Evolved.